If you're looking for something a little bit different in your photography, picking out a unique lens sometimes is a way to get a new view on the world. This lens here, the 300mm 2.8, is definitely one of those lenses that's not in everybody's kit these days. They have been around for a long time, definitely since the 60s and 70s, I believe, is when these lenses came out. And this particular copy here that we're looking at is the Nikon 300mm 2.8 ED AI lens. Comes from a whole lineage or a whole line of 300mm 2.8s that Nikon created. And to my understanding, the 300mm 2.8, this early manual focus lens, was one of the first really relatively affordable, longer, fast lenses that were made, that were out there. So a lot of people back in the day, a lot of professionals bought this lens. It was definitely something to give you a great perspective and to, use for everything from maybe sporting events, believe it or not. A lot of baseball photographers use this lens. This particular copy that I have here, you can see on the case that comes with it, it has the Toronto Blue Jays winning the World Series. That says a lot about what these lenses were used for. So using a lens like this can be really something to give you a different look on your image than you would get with a lot of standard lenses, for sure. So why would that be? Of course, the 300mm focal length at a 2.8 aperture is something that, as you can see by looking at the lens, it's got a very large 122mm front size, which is very large compared to a lot of standard lenses that people would be using. So it's a pretty substantial piece of glass, and these classic lenses, these AI and AIS lenses, were built like tanks. It's got, all metal construction, very solid weight, very solid build. And, the fact that they're still around here in 2026 and, still available and still being used on the used market, is a testament to how well these lenses were built. This copy that I have here was very graciously loaned to me from Photo Outfitters here in Windsor, Ontario. Great store on Tecumseh Road if you're looking for some unique photography gear. So thanks to Adrian there for letting me try out this lens to get a feel for it. I shot with it for a while, took it out on a number of shoots in just a stunning lens. Really, really easy to get good quality images with this lens. If you're into the dreamy blurred look, this lens will definitely do that for you at f2.8. The combination of the long focal length and the wide aperture is definitely going to give you that super blurry background. From a character standpoint, we could look at some of the images that I'm putting on screen here. It's definitely got, what I would consider really beautiful bokeh. The balls are very round, very smooth, very soft. It's got a really, really nice look. Super easy to make, maybe congested backgrounds, back away or drift away, which is a nice thing to do sometimes. It's always better to, frame the picture the best you can, of course, from a pure photography standpoint. But, if you're in a situation where you need to isolate your subject, then this is definitely a lens that'll do that for you without even breaking a sweat. Getting back to the lens itself, it's, like I said, all metal construction. It is manual focus, of course, and, that scares a lot of people away these days, of course. But, if you're looking for something that you can, get for a relatively affordable price at this kind of a lens, this is a great one to look at. I think this copy here sells for about $900 Canadian. From what I see online, the most current version of a 300mm 2.8 from Nikon runs about $7,000 Canadian. So, you're looking at 1/8, 1/7 of the cost, to get into a lens that, can give you that kind of a look. Of course, you're giving up autofocus and you're going to be giving up image stabilization. So if you're going to use this lens, you have to know what you're getting into. I did shoot the lens on a tripod the entire time for all of these shots, shooting it with my Nikon D750. So no in-body image stabilization, no lens stabilization. So I had to make sure that I was supporting the lens properly. And this is definitely a lens that you attach a camera to. You don't attach the lens to the camera. This is the thing you want to hang on to. You definitely don't want to support, the lens by holding onto the camera body or anything. It's a great way to ruin your mount. This kind of a lens is definitely something you mount the tripod to the lens and use it, very carefully for sure. Definitely got noticed when I was out and about shooting with this lens. This is not a discreet lens. This is something that says I'm serious about photography, or I'm a professional, I'm doing something where people want to pay attention to you. I definitely noticed that everywhere I went, people were, coming over and talking to me or asking me what I was photographing. So definitely an attention getter of a lens. So it is manual everything on the lens, manual aperture ring, which is great to use. I prefer those kind of lenses. So from f2.8 to f22 in full stop clicks, which is really nice. So you can use it on a mirrorless camera with an adapter, which would really, I think, be a great benefit for for focusing and getting that shallow depth of field really nailed. I did it on my D750, and all of the shots, I think, except for maybe one, were in pretty, really what I would consider, more than acceptable sharpness. The lens itself is really good. Just paying attention and making sure, that it's set up right. You can get sharp shots easily. So manual aperture ring. It does have some filter inserts. I think they're 39 millimeters, which is pretty neat. So if you want to have a filter right in the lens, there's a slot where you can put that in. Really nice built-in lens hood, which is great. So you can just twist that and kind of lock it into place. The copy that I've been trying here, like I said, did come with the case. You can see it's pretty worn, disintegrating a little bit from age, but to me that adds to the character. But nicely protects the lens, and it does have the leather or leatherette style hood for the lens as well. A lot of older copies have long forgotten those or lost those along the way, so this copy does have that as well. Just a great lens to use. Solid, very simple, no extra VR or anything to really to get distracted by. Set your aperture, set your focus, and you're good to go. The other thing that I really liked about this lens, I think, was that it really puts you into a different headspace than a normal, 50 millimeter, 40, 35 millimeter lens. This definitely locks out the world. When you're looking through an eyepiece at 300 millimeters, you're looking at a very narrow slice of the world. So I find that, I definitely had to, visualize the photograph beforehand, pick out the subject. What is it that I'm going to be photographing? What is it that I want to highlight in this image? And set that up beforehand. Because if you're just going to, maybe think of it as a point the lens somewhere and hope to get a picture type of a lens, it's not going to work for you, because you're seeing such a shallow, like I said, slice of, the environment around you, that you really need to know what you're focusing on. So what could you use this lens for? As some of these examples show, I think it's definitely a great, perhaps stationary birding lens if you're, photographing birds that are on a tree or on a feeder or somewhere where you're not chasing them around with autofocus. Definitely a great lens for that. Perhaps flowers, anything, that isn't really moving around that quickly, you can certainly use that for. And of course, portraiture. That's kind of the main interest that I have in this kind of a lens is, what kind of a portrait can you get with this lens? So I was able to get a picture of a couple that wasn't too scared by the lens and, let me take their picture while they were down by the waterfront here in Windsor across from Detroit. And, I think it's, a decent photograph. It's just a few seconds to take up the shot. And it shows us, what kind of detail you can get from this lens, the separation from the background. Definitely a very flattering lens. This is something I would definitely think would make a great portraiture lens for a certain look. That kind of a long focal length is definitely going to compress a lot and might not be the most flattering thing for everybody's faces. So I think you'd want to definitely, use that, very sparingly perhaps, or make sure your subject is the right type of thing for this type of a lens. So a great value, really great lens, compared to, like I said, the $7,000 for, at least the most current version that I see from Nikon. And it's something unique, something different. Great lens to use, really fun, and highly recommended. So if you're in Windsor, or if you're looking to pick up a lens like this, you can contact Photo Outfitters here in Windsor. And, they do have a website and contact information. I'm sure they would arrange to get it to you. But great lens. Thanks for letting me try it out. Definitely something that's different. My name is Mike Kovalev. Thanks very much for watching. If you like the video, give it a like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.